Seymour Rocks, reporting from down under. This is my second attempt to produce this. I produced the video, it's working well, and then when I tried to download it onto my hard drive, I was told, you do not have the permission to do this. What? Anyway, so this is a follow-up to yesterday's video with some of my afterthoughts. Someone posted this under the comment section of my YouTube video. Why is there such resistance, even among our friends, to acknowledge ongoing chemical ice-nucleated winter storms and other geoengineered programs going on? Well, quite. This gave me some cause for thought, and I've been reflecting on this quite a bit, and I came to the conclusion that most of this can be put down to reductionistic thinking. So reductionistic thinking these days in this postmodern world where we're told what to think dominates over everything, and systems or holistic thinking just doesn't get a look in. And I have to say most people are not being trained in how to think in a very dualistic way. So it can only ever be this, can't be that. This is good, while that is bad. In order to preserve this, we have to kill that. So this is dualistic thinking to the core. And then the other thing that we get, especially in the media, is everything, now that it's acknowledged, finally, everything has to be put down to climate change. It doesn't matter what it was, and there's only one cause. So, say the death of marine life, it can't ever be Fukushima or other factors. It has to be climate change, warming seas. So, and it certainly can't be, any of this can't be put down to geoengineering. So that's, in my view, that's nonsense, because nature, in fact, everything works that way. We live in a world with a complex web of interrelationship. In short, in the words of the great Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, we inter-are. And I think that we ignore that at our peril. And there's the great danger in dualistic thinking also of ignoring the shadow and projecting it onto other people, which we see all the time. So in this complex relationship, not only is climate changing because of man-made greenhouse gas emissions, but we have also other effects, say of Fukushima and other factors coming together to create the perfect storm. So in the case of the Pacific, it's just simply dying. Personally, having looked into this a bit over the past 6 months, I've come to the conclusion that geoengineering, I mean not theoretical geoengineering, but actual geoengineering is part of the picture. How big a part of the picture? I have no idea, but yes, part of the picture. So another thought that I have is that it grieves me no end to hear that some people, friends, complaining legitimately of what I might call consensus science, and I'm using that expression to be as fair as possible towards people like Michael Mann and others. This is all being used to dismiss legitimate concerns about polar ice and methane class rates, to give an example. So what bothers me is that these people then turn around and use the same tactics, the same argument on others, such as, for example, Dane Wigington, who whether he's right or wrong, is absolutely genuine, and he's trying his best to get at the truth. So if I was completely honest, rather than go on the attack, I would simply, rather more diplomatically, say that I am confident about my own area of expertise, but I'm not going to be deflected into other lines of inquiry that are not part of that. But I'm also not going to criticize other on the other hand, because I don't really have the knowledge or the proof to do so. So that at least is how I would approach things right now. And it's sad that others don't. So talking of evidence, as I said, I think there's evidence aplenty for geoengineering. Obviously, you're never going to get a peer-reviewed paper on this. Nobody will get the fun to research something so out of the box that would, if proven, totally overturn the official narratives in a similar way to observations and proof of abrupt climate change. And this is shown by the fact that in the Obama White House put a gag order over people working for NOAA and other organizations. So I'm not really sufficiently familiar with the subject to discuss it in great detail, but I can say this. My interest in this came not from watching videos or even reading articles. It came from observations of what is happening in the sky above me, as well as looking from above in satellite pictures from NASA World View. And when I saw this, I went searching for an explanation, and I discussed with others. And I can say that nobody up till now has come up with a credible explanation to rival my explanation. In fact, actually, it was listening to Paul Beckwith debating Dane Wickington that helped me come to the conclusion that there might really be something in this. Evidence is, of course, indirect, and it comes from people's observations, and also the fact that people are getting sick from exposure to aluminium and other heavy metals leaching out and falling with the rain. And of course, there are always people who will dismiss that. Oh no, you can't, that won't happen. And also, geoengineering has been brought out by a lot of documentary evidence, such as patents for the technology and examples of people inadvertently spilling the beans, an example of which I will give in a few minutes. But getting back to the sickness, I feel greatly for the people that have become sick because of this. In my own case, my own health has been delivered a huge blow by past exposure to pesticides. But every time I would mention this to others, and especially to representatives of the medical fraternity, the eyes would glaze over, or I would be simply told there's no proof. That was until recently. In my last session with the neurologist at Wellington Hospital, I mentioned pesticides as a possible explanation, and to my great surprise, he said, the only thing I know is that paraquat, a very dangerous pesticide, can cause Parkinson's or other similar neurological disorders. Wow. Because it was specifically paraquat that I've identified that I was exposed to. And then I learnt from a friend just yesterday who has researched it, that a chemical called atrazine, which was used in this country as a sheep dip, I don't know if it is anymore, and the use of which was mandated by the government in the 60s, similarly causes Parkinson's. So there's lack of proof for you. People who feel that they're healthy will always find it easy to ignore and debunk the evidence, even when there is plenty. And that's something that I call contempt prior to investigation. So totally unconnected with this, I would like to show a few examples that taken by themselves might not be proof, but taken together provide anecdotal evidence. And I'm a great fan of anecdote of a program to geoengineer both the weather and, yes, Paul Beckwith, the climate. So anyway, let's go. So just bear with me for a moment. Wait a minute. Yeah, sorry. So first of all, we have so I had to go searching because it keeps on disappearing on me. Okay.
On this Thursday, we had a little cloud cover in the morning hours, a couple of showers as well, but nothing like what they're getting in the eastern half of the U.S. As you can see, we've got rain and snow stretching from the Great Lakes all the way down to Florida, at times creating some major problems. This is the same line of action that blew trucks off the freeways yesterday in Iowa, created some downed trees. We had hail from pea to golf ball size throughout much of the upper Midwest Plain states, and of course it's still going on. Our fear is that rain in New England could create flooding issues yet again for folks in Maine, New Jersey, for example, perhaps all the way down to the Carolinas. Here in the West, we're seeing a brief break, but there is a chance for more showers coming our way by the weekend. Now, tomorrow it should be dry, but cooler than normal, and tonight it's going to be cold enough that we might actually see some frost issues throughout the region. So folks in the orchard industry, even backyard gardeners, should take care of their plants. You can see scattered showers still showing up on the Pacific Northwest radar throughout the region, the heaviest, and of course, well to our north.
So here we are.
Here in Southern Oregon and Northern California, we've got a bit of an unusual situation. Now, this first portion of the radar cycle, fairly bland and typical, but then you see these bands of very distinct cloud cover moving into the region. That is not rain, that is not snow. Believe it or not, military aircraft flying through the region is dropping chaff. Small bits of aluminum, sometimes it's made of plastic, or even metallicized paper products, but it's used as an anti-radar issue, and obviously they're up there practicing. Now, they won't confirm that, but I was in the Marine Corps for many years, and I'll tell you right now, that's what it is. 50 in Medford right now, 48 in Wairika, 42 in Klamath Falls. Forecast for tonight, clear and cold, little patchy valley fog. And of course, we've got frost and freeze warning up throughout the entire region, 25 to 30 tonight in Southern Oregon's valleys. Coast tomorrow.
Okay, so I wonder if that guy's still got a job after that faux pas. So the next thing I want to do is to show this. So this relates back to what we were talking about yesterday.
Let me hurry up, it's cold out here. Let me get some of this.
So he's collecting snow from his backyard.
We think it's snow. Get another chunk here. Okay, earlier today, I saw a video where someone went outside and took some snow and took a lighter and tried to melt the snow like I used to when I was a kid. I always believed that the air was being sprayed with chemicals, which are called chemtrails, and that this is the reason why we're finally having snow, especially in Michigan, because the theory is that geoengineering is supposed to slow down the global warming process. Well, anyway, let's get to this experiment because I couldn't believe what I saw and I wanted to try it. So I have a lighter, and to prove that the lighter is real, I'm going to light this piece of paper. As you see, it's real. And so let me take some snow. It's supposed to be snow. Put it here. And let's try to melt snow. Well, ice rather. It's supposed to be ice. And that's what ice usually does. It should be water underneath. right now, but as you see, it's not melting. It's going to actually start deteriorating. Look at this. I've never seen anything like this. No water, no condensation, anything. This is not snow. This is crazy. Anyway, so I went and grabbed my map gas, which is like a blowtorch. Literally like a blowtorch. Let's see what happens now. Where is the water? This is not snow. This is crazy. What are they spraying in our air? Okay, now I just wanted to try an ice cube, just a regular ice cube, to see what happens when I light an ice cube with a lighter. If you look closely, you can see water. It's a drop about to hit the ground now. It's melting. You can see the water. Now let me try my blowtorch. As you can see, the water is water. But as we saw previously, I'll do it right now again. The snow didn't, the so-called snow didn't melt.
Okay, so I got slightly out of sync.
On this Thursday, we had a little.
I just want to show one more thing. If I can. And getting back to aluminum. So here we are, aluminum, new factor in the decline of bee populations. Very high amounts of aluminum contamination have been found in bees, raising the question of whether aluminum-induced cognitive dysfunction is playing a role in the decline of bumblebee populations. Aluminum is the Earth's most ubiquitous ecotoxicant and is already known to be responsible for the death of fish in acid lakes, forest decline in acidified and nutrient-impoverished catchments, and low crop productivity on acid sulfate soils. So there goes another part of the puzzle. Obviously, they're not getting the aluminium from aluminium saucepans. So that is another indication, just all part of the puzzle. So that's enough from me. This is Seymour Rocks reporting from Down Under.